I was 7 months pregnant, hauling laundry up 3 flights of stairs, while my husband lounged on the couch watching TV when I finally set the basket down. Sore and out of breath, he glanced at me and said, "You're really letting yourself go. If you don't fix this fast after the baby, I'll find someone who actually makes an effort." His brother chuckled. I just nodded. 72 hours later, he was blowing up my phone, begging me to come home. I'm literally sitting in a motel room right now. 7 months pregnant, trying to process today. Am I overreacting? Am I in shock? I don't know. But I need to get this out somewhere along post. Sorry. For context, Jason and I have been together for 5 years, married for 3. We met in college when he was the life of every party, always making people laugh. He had this magnetic charm, and I fell for it hard. Things changed when I got pregnant. It wasn't planned, but once I got over the shock, I was excited. Jason, not so much. He said the right words, but actions speak louder. And his actions were retreating into his routine, watching TV, going out with friends, barely helping at home. I told myself he was adjusting in his own way, that men process things differently. Meanwhile, this pregnancy has been brutal. I spent 3 months throwing up nonstop, then came the anemia. And now my back feels like it's splitting in two most days, which brings me to today. After work, I stopped by Target for essentials. We live in a walk up, no elevator, and I had a full load of laundry in the car. When I got home, Jason was sprawled on the couch, watching some reality show, empty soda cans and chip bags everywhere. I asked if he could help carry things up. He just waved me off and said he was in the middle of something. So there I was, 7 months pregnant, trudging up and down 3 flights of stairs with heavy baskets. By the 5th trip, I was drenched in sweat. My back was screaming, and I could feel my hands shaking. When I finally set the last basket down, I flopped onto the bed, trying to breathe. That's when Jason looked over from the couch and said, "Not to be mean, but seriously, you need to get it together. If you don't lose that weight after the baby, I'm out." I stared at him. Then I heard his brother laugh from across the room. He wanted an audience. Instead of crying or yelling, I walked over, smiled, kissed his forehead, and told him I needed a shower. The confused look on his face would have been funny if I wasn't breaking inside. In the shower, with the water drowning out any sound, I finally let myself cry. But they weren't just sad tears, they were angry, clarity-filled tears. I saw every red flag I had ignored over the years, all at once. This wasn't new behavior. It was just the loudest example yet. This was who he was. And I was about to bring a child into this. A child who would grow up thinking this is normal. No, just no. I got out of the shower, put on my softest maternity sweater, and told Jason I needed some air. He barely looked up from the TV. I grabbed my hospital bag already packed because I'm a planner, my laptop, my important documents, and walked out. I'm at a motel 20 minutes away. I called my sister, Sarah, who lives an hour from here, and she's driving down tomorrow to help me figure out what to do next. Jason has called twice and texted once to ask where the laundry detergent is. Not where I am, just about the detergent. I need to leave him. I need to protect myself and my baby. But I'm so scared. I'm 7 months pregnant. The lease is in both our names, and our finances are somewhat linked, though thankfully, I've always had my own personal savings where my paychecks go. I was counting on having a real partner to share childcare and expenses, but I keep replaying that moment in the living room, the casual cruelty, the way he said it like it meant nothing, the fact that he wanted his brother to hear it. I should have left a long time ago. I deserve better. My baby deserves better. I don't know exactly what my next steps are, but I know I'm not stepping foot in that apartment tonight, maybe not ever. Edit. A lot of people are asking if this was the first time he said something like this. No, it wasn't. There have been jokes about my body changing, comments about how I used to look so much better, and questions about how soon I'll bounce back after birth. But they were always framed as jokes or concern, just enough plausible deniability that I could convince myself he didn't mean it that way. Today was just the moment he finally stopped pretending. Edit 2. To those saying, I should have communicated better or tried harder. To work things out, we've had countless talks about sharing responsibilities, especially since I got pregnant. His promises to change last maybe 2 days. I've suggested couples therapy multiple times, but he's always too busy. Today wasn't some one-off bad moment, it was just the first time. I truly saw the situation for what it is. Update, same night. It's 2 a.m. and I can't sleep. Jason finally realized I wasn't coming home and has been blowing up my phone. First it was confusion. Where are you? Then irritation. You're being ridiculous. Then guilt tripping. Come on, I was just joking. You know how my brother is. The last text was a rant about how I better not be wasting our money on a hotel, our money. The same money that's almost entirely from my paycheck, while he puts all of his into his car upgrades and weekend trips. I've decided I'm meeting with a lawyer before I go back to that apartment. I've muted his notifications and am trying to rest for my baby's sake. My sister will be here in the morning. The baby is kicking like crazy right now. I placed my hand on my belly and whispered, I've got you. We're going to be okay. And for the first time today, I actually believe it. First update. It's been about 4 weeks since my last post. And I need to update because things have escalated so much. Thank you to everyone who reached out with support. Your words helped me push through moments when I felt like giving up. After that night, when Jason told me I was letting myself go, my sister Sarah came and we talked through my options. We decided I needed to return to the apartment temporarily to get things in order. So many of you warned me not to let Jason know I was planning to leave until I was fully prepared. And wow, you were absolutely right. When I went back home, Jason acted like nothing had ever happened. When I brought up what he said, he rolled his eyes and told me I was too sensitive and that it was just a joke. Then he flipped the script, claiming I've been the one acting irrational, and that he's been walking on eggshells around me. He actually said, do you know how stressful this pregnancy has been for me? For him, I nearly lost it, but I stuck to my plan. I took a deep breath, apologized for overreacting, and said I was just tired and hormonal. The relief on his face was instant. He thought he'd won, that I was back in line, that everything could go back to how it was. Little did he know, I had already been working with a divorce attorney. The past month has been one of the hardest of my life. I've been living a double life, outwardly playing the part of the apologetic, exhausted wife while quietly preparing my exit. Here's what I've done so far. I've been keeping a detailed journal of Jason's behavior, times, exact words. I've also secretly recorded a few conversations where he's been particularly cruel. My lawyer says this could be useful for the divorce. I've always had my paycheck going into my personal account, thank God, but now I've set up a brand new account at a different bank and moved my direct deposit there. I've been slowly reclaiming my own money from our shared account in amounts small enough not to raise suspicion. While going through our financial records, I found something that made me feel sick. Jason had opened a credit card in my name without my knowledge. He's racked up over $5,000 in debt on sports betting and collectibles. I've already reported the fraud to the credit card company and sent in evidence proving it wasn't me. I've gathered every important document, birth certificate, marriage license, tax returns, bank statements, then moved them to a safe location outside our apartment. My sister helped me find a small 2-bedroom place, ground floor, no stairs, and unit laundry, and a secure building. I signed the lease last week. It's not fancy, but it's clean, safe, and mine. I've been packing in small, careful steps, moving the things that matter most to me over to my sister's place when Jason isn't home. Nothing obvious enough for him to notice, but piece by piece, I'm making sure I'm ready. I also got a burner phone. My regular phone stays on and acts normal, but this way, he won't be able to track me when I leave. Living this double life has been exhausting, especially being 8 months pregnant. My ankles are constantly swollen, my back aches nonstop, and the baby feels like she's practicing gymnastics inside me. But every step toward freedom gives me strength. The hardest part, pretending, smiling when he jokes, making his meals, listening to him rant about his fantasy football league, sitting beside him while he watches hours of mindless TV. Even sleeping next to him makes my skin crawl now that I've stopped gaslighting myself about who he really is. And now that I've stopped pretending, he's only gotten worse. Now that Jason thinks I've accepted his behavior, the mask has slipped even more. Last week, he invited his brother and a couple of friends over for a guys' night without telling me until they were already at the door. I had just gotten home from work and was lying down because my back was spasming. He actually walked into the bedroom and told me I should make myself useful and order them some wings. When I said I was in pain, he rolled his eyes and said, "Being pregnant isn't a disability. Women have done this forever." Then he brought up how his mom worked until the day before she had him a total lie. I casually asked her on the phone a few days later, and she told me she'd been on bed rest for the last month due to complications. His friends heard everything. I caught one of them looking uncomfortable, but no one said a word. In the end, I ordered the wings from Bidond, paid for them with my own money. When they arrived, Jason yelled for me to get the door, because they were right in the middle of something. So I had to drag myself up, walk past them in my pajamas, pay the delivery guy, and set out plates and napkins while they ignored me. They stayed until nearly 2 a.m., leaving empty beer bottles and takeout containers everywhere. When Jason finally came to bed, he tried to initiate sex. When I said I was exhausted, he scoffed and muttered, "Come on, it's not like you have to do anything. Just lie there like you always do." I locked myself in the bathroom and cried in silence, reminding myself that I only had to endure this for a little while longer. My plan is to leave next weekend when Jason goes to his parents' place for his dad's birthday. He'll be gone overnight, which gives me a full 24 hours to get everything done. My sister, 2 close friends, and surprisingly Jason's younger brother, Dylan, are all helping. Dylan witnessed one of Jason's outbursts last month and secretly reached out to me afterward to offer his support. My lawyer has all the divorce papers ready. I'll freeze our joint account, take what's rightfully mine, leave the papers with a detailed note explaining exactly why I'm leaving, and be gone before he returns. I won't lie, I'm terrified. I wake up in the middle of the night with my heart racing, wondering if I can really do this. But then I feel my daughter kick, and I know I have to. I refuse to raise her in a home where her mother is disrespected daily. I refuse to let her believe this is what love looks like. In a strange way, I'm grateful for that awful moment with the laundry. Without Jason's mask completely slipping, I might have continued making excuses for years. Sometimes, I wonder what would have happened if I had met the real Jason from the start instead of the charming musician who swept me off my feet. The red flags were always there. I just didn't want to see them because I was too busy being in love. My doctor says my blood pressure is too high, likely from stress, so I need to take it easy this final month. The irony isn't lost on me that planning to leave Jason is stressful in the short term but absolutely necessary for my long-term health and well-being. To those who suggested therapy on my last post, I've started seeing someone virtually who specializes in relationship trauma and pregnancy. It's been so validating to hear that I'm not overreacting or just being hormonal. This is real emotional abuse, and I do deserve better. I'll update again after everything goes down next weekend. Wish me luck, I'm going to need it, bestie. Edit, just got a notification that this post is blowing up while I'm at my doctor's appointment. I'll try to answer questions when I get home. Thank you all so much for the support. Update, same day, just had to add this. Jason just texted me asking what's for dinner tonight. I'm literally sitting in my doctor's office for our baby, an appointment he chose to skip because he had a really important band rehearsal. Translation, jamming in his friend's garage for hours while drinking beer. Yet somehow, I'm still expected to provide dinner. I've been picking my battles to avoid suspicion, so I'll probably just grab takeout on the way home. For more days until he leaves for his parents' place. For more days of pretending I can do this. Oh, and the doctor says baby girl is measuring perfectly and has a strong heartbeat. Not that Jason asked. She's already doing gymnastics in there. I think she knows we're about to start a better life. Yesterday, while Jason was watching his reality show Secretly ordered the cutest crib for my new place. It's being delivered to Sarah's house next week. I've never bought something so expensive without overthinking it, but it felt so good to make a decision entirely for me and my daughter. This morning, while getting ready for work, I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror and for the first time in a while, I actually smiled. Not because I looked particularly good, let's be real, but because I saw her. The person I used to be, the one who deserved more than this. And she's finally coming back. I'm 8 months pregnant and exhausted, but last night, for the first time in years, I recognized myself again. That spark in my eyes that had faded is starting to come back. I rehearsed what I'm going to write in my note to Jason, and it felt so validating to put everything into words. No more making excuses. No more minimizing. Just the plain truth about who he is and why I'm leaving. I'm still scared about doing this alone. Single motherhood wasn't in my life plan, but staying with Jason would cost me my self-respect and eventually my sanity. And what kind of mother could I be then? Just for more days. For more days of this double life, and then freedom. Second update. It's done. I'm out. I'm sitting in my new apartment as I type this, surrounded by boxers and a half-assembled crib. But I've never felt more at peace, despite the chaos. Here's how it all went down. As planned, Jason left yesterday morning for his dad's birthday weekend at his parents' house. About 3 hours away. He was actually in a great mood for once, probably because he was escaping pregnant wife duty for a full weekend. He kissed me goodbye, told me not to do anything crazy while he was gone, and said he'd be back Sunday evening. The moment his car pulled away, Operation Exodus began. My sister Sarah arrived with her SUV 10 minutes later, followed by my friend Mia, who had borrowed a small moving truck from her workplace. Jason's brother, Ryan, showed up shortly after looking nervous but determined. We had exactly 32 hours to get me completely out. Standing in the apartment that morning felt surreal. I had spent 5 years there, slowly losing pieces of myself, while pretending everything was fine. But not today. We worked through the apartment, following the inventory list I'd been building for weeks. First, all my personal items and clothes Jason wouldn't immediately notice were missing. Then, the baby items I had bought myself. Then, furniture that was clearly mine from before our relationship. Ryan was amazing, handling all the heavy lifting despite my protests that he shouldn't be helping me leave his own brother. At one point, he paused and just said, "He doesn't deserve a family." That was the moment I knew I was making the right choice.